Hi there, and welcome to the Embossing Powder New Release giveaway hop. You can find the link to the next person in the description box, and there's also the instructions how to go about in the hop. But let's start with the card. I chose to work with a trio called Toteally Amazing because of its beautiful teal and turquoise palette, and I thought it would fit nicely to a holiday card. I use each powder from the set to emboss elements for my card. There's a wreath, a deer, and then a snowflake. They are all cut using C6 dies. As I said, I'm using different powder for each of them. I embossed the deer with the real teal, then the wreath with gilded, and finally I'm doing the snowflake with iced teal. Here you can see all the elements embossed. Now that I have all the elements done, I'm starting to make the card and starting that with making the focal point, using those elements I already made and making a little composition using them. I die cut a white circle, then add here the snowflake on top. Then I'm using a stapler to attach the wreath on top, and finally foam dots for the deer to mount it on top. And like so, the focal point is done. Next, I'm starting my work with the background. I cut a piece of white cardstock and now I'm patterning it using embossing ink and a stamp from Round and Round set. I then emboss the piece using two powders from the trio, the real teal and iced teal. I'm first making kind of a roundish shape around the focal point using the other powder and then covering rest of the page using the other one. Then I just heat the powder and afterwards start adding watercolors on top. As you know, embossing powders resist watercolors, so after I've put some blues and greens on top, you can see the pattern even more through the colors. It kind of gives that icy feeling to the card. I'm painting most of the colors, but in the end I'm also adding a little bit of splashes, but as it's a wet on wet, they kind of dissolve into the background. Then I dried the background and adhered it on top of metallic cardstock. Then I treat the background using the embossing ink and drizzle some of the ultra thick white embossing powder on top. Normally I would just add the grains on top and heat the cardstock from underneath, but as the metal cardstock is so thick, I'm afraid that the heat just won't go through it, so it's easier from the top. Now that I have also my background done, it's time to put everything together. I added some lengths of twine around the background piece and then I mounted my focal point using foam tape. I also made a little sentiment piece using a stamp and the gilded embossing powder and using foam stamp to adhere it to my card. I cut the edges so it looks like a little banner. Then it's time to add the last touches. I'm adding some sequins to the card, and actually after filming I also added some white half pearls to add a little bit of that white more to the card, more of that snowy icy effect. Here you can see two cards, the other one that I just made and the other one made using kind of the same techniques but with a different background. It's more kind of clean and simple in a way. I didn't use watercolors in the other one so much, only did some splashes with them, but the focal point is the same. As the other card has craft cardstock as the base, I used the same color in the banner and used white embossing powder to stamp the sentiment. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to hop along and leave thumbs up and comments to all of the videos to be in for the draw for the gift card. And if you like the video, please consider subscribing. Thank you. Bye bye.